May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be ever pleasing in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. You'll notice I'm up here today and not down there. My words that I wrote today, I wanted to be sure I got right, so I have a manuscript today instead of just notes. So that is why I'm up here this week, but I promise I'll be back down in the aisle next week. But I wanted to be sure I got my words right because today is All Saints' Day. It is a day to be reminded of all those amazing people who have come before us in the faith. It's a day to celebrate their legacies and to be inspired and comforted by their memories as we face our own trials and our own tribulations. All Saints is a time to remember that though they are not physically with us, they are still around us and within us always. That's one reason we have the ribbons coming down from the ceiling today. The ribbons, the white ribbons, have all the names we're going to read today during the prayers to remind us that the people there have not left this place. They're still here, in our hearts, in our pews, and with us at the communion table. When we sit in these pews, we aren't alone. We are inspired and surrounded by those who came before us. Now, there are a few misconceptions about All Saints' Day, or at least All Saints' Day as we understand it as Lutherans. First, when we list the names of those who have died during the prayers, we're not praying for their soul to go to heaven or for them to intercede on our behalf. We don't need a middleman with God. We know our God, and our God can handle all of our concerns and our anger and our complaints and whatever else we have to bring to God. And God will respond in kind. We don't need someone else to make a plea for us. Also, we're not praying for those souls who have died to go to heaven because we know that they are saved and they are in heaven. We know they had faith as they inspired our faith, and we know God's grace works in our lives and the life hereafter, so they don't need our prayers to get God's grace or into salvation. They've been marked and sealed with the cross of Christ forever, and they've been united with Christ in his death and resurrection, like we heard about in today's second reading. So they're already at that heavenly feast. As it said in our reading from Daniel this morning, the kingdom is already theirs, and it will be forever and ever. So if today is not to pray directly for those who have died or to pray for them to intercede for us, what is the point? Well, as Lutherans, we believe in the idea of the priesthood of all believers. That no matter what you do, be you a pastor, a factory worker, a teacher, a professional bowler, whatever career you have in life, whatever you do in this world, through it, you further the glory of God and you help your neighbor in need. You don't have to be a pastor or a monk or a nun. You don't have to be me up here in the robes to do holy work. All work is holy and valued in God's sight. Because all we do can help in some way to make this world turn and to make it better for our neighbors who are in need. Everything we do helps make the world a little bit better and helps the kingdom to further break into this world. All we do can reverberate God's love in the world. And we are all called to varied and diverse callings, and they are all necessary for building up this kingdom of God. So on All Saints' Day, we celebrate the varied and diverse and amazing lives of those who have come before us. We remember with joy how they inspired us, made us laugh, loved us, kept us close. We look to them as examples of how we are to lead our lives and to bolster our own faith when we're in a troubled world. And what we must remember is that there is one thing that united most of the people that we're going to read today. There's one thing that brought all of them together, and it's this place, here. Redemption Lutheran Church. This church brought together all those names that are descending from the ceiling, and all those names we will read aloud in the prayers. This place reached out to them in faith, and they responded in kind. They showed up here. They worshiped here. They made music and prayed and taught and worked and cleaned and sang and grew and loved and hoped and lost and celebrated and witnessed, all here in this place. They gave this place their gifts. They gave this place their time, their talent, and their treasure, and we have all benefited from that. We stand as a congregation today on the shoulders of the saints who came before us and who gave of themselves and their blessings to be sure that there would be a church here now. And I hope when they gave of their time and their blessings, when they did the work they did for this place, I hope they were told thank you. Thank you for all the work you put in to make this church what it is today. Thank you for the endowment funds, the nursery school, the altar paraments, and all the furnishings here in this place. The buildings we're standing in, the families that came, the traditions, the teas, the craft projects, Sunday school, puppet ministry, the children, the after-school programs, the celebrations and the baptisms, the funerals, to Babe and Hall, the parsonage, the neighbors and friends. Thank you, saints who came before us. Thank you for everything you have brought to this place. I don't know if you heard it when you were here, and if you didn't, I do apologize, but thank you now. Thank you for your love, your support, and your stewardship of this place, and the love of God that's shared here at the corner of Bustleton and Ron. Each and every person we will read today, and the thousands of others that we can't, has brought something to this place, even if they never stepped foot in it. Because there are people who are here today who are brought here because they wanted to remember people they loved. And even if the people they loved weren't part of the redemption family, those people who are making the memory are here now. And they are part of this place and this family again. I know this all sounds very positive when we're dealing with loss. And it is meant to sound hopeful. But I also know the loss of someone, no matter who it is and how they are related, can be some of the most difficult and lasting pain we deal with. And that pain doesn't go away. That grief stays with us no matter what, no matter how long. It always creeps up when we least expect it. And we mourn. And we continue to mourn, even as we give thanks for the amazing lives that touched us. I'm here first to tell you that it is okay to mourn. Don't let anyone tell you have to get over it fast. Don't let anyone come to you and say, well, why aren't you celebrating? They're with God. Well, yeah, that's great. But that doesn't change the fact they're not here now. It is natural and appropriate to mourn and to take the time that you need to do that. I do take hope, however, in Jesus' words this morning. Blessed are those who weep and mourn, for they will laugh. Now, Jesus doesn't put a timeline on how long that mourning is. Jesus doesn't say you have to be laughing by this date. But Jesus promises that those who mourn will be brought to a place of joy and laughter. So when we are reunited at that heavenly feast with all those that we love, when Christ finally comes back to earth and God establishes God's kingdom here in this place, one thing we are promised and we take hope in is that mourning and that grief will be gone. And we will laugh and smile and have the joy of being united with those we love and united with our God. We can know that the hurt will be gone, and God's kingdom will be full of laughter. But we aren't there yet. We're still here without those we love. So what will we do on All Saints, which is about remembering and celebrating? Well, we will do just that. We will lift up the people we love, and we will celebrate their memories. As many of you know, we have been on a stewardship journey these last 4 weeks, and it comes to an end this week as we turn in our stewardship packets. I invite you to fill them out. Put those packets in the offering plate today, and look at where you feel called to help this congregation now. Where you feel called to share your time, your talent, and your treasures, and to follow in the footsteps of those saints who gave so much to this place and stewarded this place and made sure this place was here for us today. Because we join in those saints' legacy today. Because they created a space for us to experience the love of God. They created a church and built it and made sure it'd still be around so that when we walked in the doors today, there would be a loving and welcoming place where God's love is preached and God's grace is proclaimed. A space for many, many more people for many, many years to come. So consider how you can join in that legacy, to continue that stewardship. Our gospel reading today ended with the message, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." The saints before us have brought us into faith and into this church. They got us in the doors, and they proclaim God's love for us. They have done for us and shown us God's love. Let's now go do unto others as has been done for us. Amen. Our hymn of the day is number 728 in the red hymnals in front of you. Blessed are they, 728.